Hello, doing a video response to Stephanie Pastel's 100 subs contest. It's entitled Unknown, Underrated, and Underdogs. First off, Stephanie, congratulations on the 100 subs. It's very well deserved. You make wonderful videos, and thank you for the interesting contest idea. Basically, Stephanie is asking those who want to participate to name a band that is considered an underdog or underrated, a band that we feel doesn't get enough attention or enough acclaim. The band can be a very well-known band that is underrated, or a relatively completely unknown band. I thought about the contest and chose someone sort of in between those two extremes. The band that I chose is the late great Silver Jews. The Silver Jews were a band that started in the early 90s and disbanded in the year 2009. The Jews are led by singer-songwriter David Berman. David Berman is just an absolute poetic genius. The Jews made, I think, 6 studio LPs and a couple of EPs. Just a little bit of background on the band. David Berman, the leader of the Silver Jews, was roommates with Stephen Malkmus of Pavement at the University of Virginia, and at one point I think David Berman was even in Pavement, or a very early version of Pavement, and he's actually even responsible for the title Slanted and Enchanted on that first Pavement LP. And Silver Jews was sort of seen as a side project of Stephen Malkmus, because Malkmus was actually in the Silver Jews as well, and went on to play on every other LP that they had. I don't know if that was by design or that was the only times he was available, but Malkmus is on like 1, 3, and 5 of the Jews' 6 LPs. But I guess a lot of folks in the 90s A&R industry thought that once Pavement blew up, the Silver Jews would blow up as well, but due to that Malkmus involvement, and needless to say, that didn't happen. And anyone with half a brain that listened to a Silver Jews LP would know that the crossover appeal, like a Pavement, is quite limited. What I love about I first heard the Silver Jews when I was living in Nashville. Lived there for several years, and David Berman lives in Nashville, and he's sort of a Nashville art celebrity. He hangs out with Harmony Korine, who is also sort of a Nashville art celebrity, and William Eggleston from Memphis. People like this, they run in a small circle in Nashville, but somehow or another I came across them when I was living there. I think I saw their record at Grimey's, a really awesome record store in Nashville, and just checked it out. I believe the first one I heard was actually Lookout Mountain, Lookout Sea, which is their last LP. And even that one, which is considered one of the Jews' weaker releases, blew me away. The thing about the Silver Jews is, like Leonard Cohen, like Nick Cave, Lou Reed, these type of Bill Callahan, these type of singer-songwriters, you predominantly listen to their music for the lyrics. The music and production on the Silver Jews albums is minimal. It's very lo-fi. They don't exactly have Brian Wilson, behind the boards, adding strings and things like that. It's very, very lo-fi. But the lyric, and David Berman, he really can't sing very well, or even on key in a lot of songs. But what makes the Silver Jews so unique and worthwhile is, again, the lyrics. David Berman's written several books. One is a book of poetry called Actual Air that I'm sure it's out of print, but I can highly recommend that. And with each Silver Jews album, there's 4 or 5, classic lines that, like, if you're reading in a book, just floor you. Like, wow, what a beautiful piece of poetry. This line, is going to stay with me forever. If you remember, like, I believe it was Facebook or MySpace even, you used to have the headline that described the person if you just wanted to and people would use things from band. The Silver Jews would be the king of Facebook headlines or MySpace headlines. So many great, like, one-liners using a very small amount of words to paint such a poetic one sentence could, paint such a poetic image. Lines like "all my favorite singers couldn't sing," or "like background singers, they all come in threes." Things like this that just really stick with you. And those are just two off the top of my head. I'm going to show you what I have. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of their albums on vinyl. The one I just showed was 2006's Tanglewood Numbers. The photograph on the front is by the Memphis artist William Eggleston. Tanglewood Numbers 2006. This has Stephen Malcolm playing guitar on it, and I believe he does some singing, as well as Bonnie Prince Billy, another big fan of the Silver Jews. I was on here playing some guitar. This is a fantastic release. This is the second to the last release from the Silver Jews. Very, very underrated in my opinion. Two things of note on the Silver Jews as well. They didn't tour, and that may be part of the reason they're relatively unknown. Up until the very end of their career, 2007, 2008, they finally began to tour. And of course no one really knew about it or cared, a very small amount of people, but it was a conscious choice, I guess, of David Berman to not tour the first 10, 12 years of the band's existence. So they really sort of only did a farewell tour, or maybe one tour and then a farewell tour. And also, another thing that I think is worthwhile mentioning the Silver Jews and why I think they're so underrated is they consistently made great albums. There were 6 total studio LPs, and it's very rare that you find an artist that makes consistently good records. There's really not a bad one. We could all name artists like that, but they're few and far between, and that's one of the things that, even after the Jews had broken up for several years, we have a chance to look at their work, and it holds up. Every single album holds up, in my opinion. There's a gap in the discography from around the year 2000 to 2001 to 2006, whereby, David Berman's own account, he was basically just held up smoking crack in Nashville. There's a great interview with Fader magazine about his addiction. He was luckily able to overcome that addiction and come back with this album here, Tanglewood Numbers. But I'm going to show you what else I have, try to keep this short. This is The Natural Bridge. This is Silver Jews' second album. How to Rent a Room, Pretty Eyes, 2 classic Silver Jews songs. And the only other one I have is called Early Times. This is a recent reissue of Unearthed Things. And like most, unearthed things that come out after a band is dissolved, it's hit or miss, extremely lo-fi. Malcolm is on a lot of this, and there are a few gems on this one. I don't have the Jews' classic work. It's called American Water. It came out in 1997. American Water is the one album that does get some acclaim. I think it was on like the best of Pitchfork's 90s albums list, but probably around 30 or 40 in the list. That's the only one that really does get any acclaim, and it is probably the best. If you were looking for a place to start with the Silver Jews, I would recommend American Water. Just in closing, I know this is not an unknown band. They're on Drag City. Most of their work came out on Drag City, which is a pretty big indie label. But, from my point of view, I'll be looking up the Silver Jews YouTube videos, and there'll be 200 views. It's almost like a local band's percentage of views on YouTube. Just check them out if you're into Leonard Cohen, that type of music. Again, if you're into it, there's a treasure trove of consistent albums. I really think you'll dig it. Again, thanks to Stephanie. Congratulations.